welcome to this special episode with David and Stacey, and we are going to talk about a new events coming up in the world of Insurtech. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Doing great.
What should we call this episode?
Insurtech Slopes.
Insurtech Slopes. That's a cool name. Now, you guys are not first timers, so how long has this event been around?
We started what, 2022, David?
Sounds about right. Just coming out of COVID. And I think this will be actually our fifth variation of slopes because one year we did two. So the sequence we've had is Park City, then we had Beaver Creek, Verbier, Switzerland, Big Sky, and this one's in Vail.
When is it?
February
First week of
4th.
February.
Yeah,
First
the
week
4th and the
February.
5th. Yeah.
4th and the 5th. How many people are you guys anticipating?
It's a tight-knit group, so we keep it to, 30 to 40 max. So it'll be anywhere between 20 and 40 people.
What's it like in the previous events?
So this is a very different type of event. Maybe it helps Jeff to start with why we created this. Most conferences that you go to, you're basically a box and a box and a box, which is you're in a conference center, in a hotel, which is a square building, in a city, which is a rectangle. And it's all inside in the recycled air, especially if you're in a casino or a big hotel. So the number one design factor of what we were doing is not in a box and has to have real fresh air for you to be a part of. And that was kind of the basic premise. But the second piece is we're not there to have the 15-minute umbrella or grip meetings and go back and forth between 20 people. It's about building real connections over a 2-day period. There's very rare opportunities where you can spend 2 quality days with people that you want to know, InsurTech peers, investors, and other people that just generally like to be outdoors.
Yeah, we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something that brought the right people together as well, right? So this event actually has a full name, right? Insurtech Slopes is kind of the moniker or the marketing name for it, but the full name is the Insurtech Investor Founder Forum. And we actually do these twice a year. We do them in one in the winter and then one late spring, early summer. But the winter version is always around skiing, and so it sticks. The Insurtech Slopes name sticks.
Who came up with the idea?
David. We were having one of our late night conversations, and David's an avid snowboarder, right? And Dave, maybe you should tell this story.
Yeah, so I've been actually trying to get the concept off the ground, probably since 2019 or 2020. And one time I was just talking to Stacey and just shared the idea. And I was like, you want to work on it together? And, he got really excited. We talked about all the benefits of getting people together in the outdoors. And then it was maybe 5, 10 minutes into the conversation, Stacey realized, oh, I don't know how to ski. So, that was a problem that could be solved. And, within couple weeks before the event, Stacey figured out how to ski, and now I would say he's pretty proficient.
It's something I always wanted to learn how to do. And it's not that I just didn't know how to. I had never skied a day in my life. Probably the closest I ever came to it was like putting those ice skates on in one of those indoor rinks, right? Like it was just
Which is interesting being in New England.
right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely always wanted to. I just never came about to doing it. So this seemed like a great opportunity to learn. So I went out and I got myself some lessons. Took my son with me. The two of us took lessons, and within the first like 3 minutes of being on my skis, I couldn't stop. We were on a very, very slight incline, and I just couldn't figure out how to stop myself. I wound up running into a woman. So, and it was like, but I was like, watch out, watch out. It was really kind of embarrassing. I probably never told you that story either, David, but
No, you didn't
that's
tell me
how
that story.
that's how green it was. And what I
Wow.
can tell you is, if you've never skied before, get started because 50 is a really hard age to start learning at because it hurts a lot more when you fall.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm primarily a snowboarder. I mean, I probably originally tried skiing when I was 4 years old, but I really only actually learned how to ski 4 years ago. And it was a very different experience than what Stacey explained. I mean, I did also do lessons, but I think probably by day 3, I mean, nowhere near as the skill level of me snowboarding, but most of the colors I can handle, green, blue, black, but probably not the more difficult blacks.
And the thing about it is, at the end of the day, it still is a business meeting trip, right? There's a business purpose to it. The skiing is secondary, and we have people that come that don't ski, right? And even some of the people that do ski, like myself, the first day we're spent in meetings, and then we're having dinner in the evening. So the big ski day is day two, and a lot of people only ski in the morning. Like by lunchtime, you get pretty tired. It gets pretty tiring out there, right? When you're young and energetic like David, you can ski till the sun sets, I guess. But there's a lot of people that either don't ski or ski very little. So
Yeah, and
we
even
talk a
if you
lot
don't
about skiing,
ski,
but it's not a
everyone
requirement.
lodges.
That's true.
Everybody skis, but everybody lodges. That's absolutely true.
Who's on the guest list this year, or who have showed up in the previous years?
Well, this year the agenda is, pretty much defined. There's still a couple people though, that we're still waiting to get confirmation on. But I think we've got Dave Weschler as one of the speakers.
Dave's awesome.
Yeah, his session was it's about understanding valuation, right? Or no, breaking down financial model. That was the one.
Yeah, I mean, basically, for anyone who's thinking about their business models internally or presenting to investors, a lot of times there's the balance between what you have to do to get investors excited, what's realistically possible, and what's total BS. So Dave's going to break down how an investor thinks about what startups present, whether it's real or BS, and how to actually get better at it.
We have other sessions besides the financial model one. We don't have a person committed yet, but someone we're talking to for the understanding valuation, right? And whether you're on the VC side of the house or the founder side of the house, this is a topic of interest for you. So like breaking down a financial model, it's content that is relevant to both audiences. And then we also have the workshop we're organizing with Meg Green, perhaps. I don't think that's officially formal yet, but how to get covered by the press, and then we'll do a workshop on how to pitch to journalists, right? Because
Yeah, and we
particularly,
did this in Park City.
right. That's right, the first one. And it's great because it's delivered in workshop format, right? So it's engaging. It's not just sit back and listening to people talk. You get into little groups and you work on your pitches together, and it's engaging. It's small group. And like David mentioned, we're normally between 30 to 40 people at this event. So everybody gets to meet everybody. Everybody gets to talk to everybody and spend significant time together, collaborating and networking and learning.
Yeah, and I would say, if you're wondering what kind of investors are coming, we've had, investors from a lot of the well-known Insurtech funds. We've had Jason Gross when he was at Manchester Story. I know he's at True Stage now. We've had, investors from Anthemis, QBE Ventures, American Family. A lot of the most active funds send their team, including partners, to this event.
Yeah, even Tarek over at Allstate, right?
Yeah, he's been to probably 3 of
MSNED.
them.
We've had Jonathan Sober, right?
Yeah, he came to our Switzerland event.
Right. So definitely we get good engagement on the investor side, and I think our spring event had more investors than founders even, right?
Yeah, so if you're a founder raising money, one of the hardest things is how do you get quality time with investors? Well, what I can tell you is if you sign up, you may have the opportunity to actually spend more time with investors than founders.
What do you think the ratio is? Is it similar to 1-to-1 between investor and founder?
It's anywhere from 1-to-1 to as low as like 1-to-2. Depends on the event.
There's usually more startups, but I'm trying to think. Did we have a 2-to-1 ratio ever, David? Or maybe close to it?
It was probably better than 2 to 1 almost every time.
Pretty
I've been
good.
to one of your event, the whitewater rafting. I think like one of the best part come out of the event is also founders meet other founders and share their pain and then share their success.
There's definitely a lot of tight relationships. It's not all investors and founders. Investors find great value in getting to connect with each other and share deals and build relationships that could lead to future deals. On the investor side, we wind up with all stages of investment too. Like we've had, certainly our share of angel investors, but pre-seed, seed, Series A, and beyond. We've even had people from brokerages that take companies public, right? So we see it all out there.
It's pretty cool. Like the entire InsurTech space, there's 2 events a year, and you guys are both of the events a year. And there's surprisingly, there's nobody have picked up the copycat version of InsurTech Slopes yet.
Well, I hear that there are other people doing slopes like events, but not necessarily targeting the same audience.
Yeah, like Marshberry Peak is an event for brokers that's done in Park City. I know one of our past attendees, Matt from Sonar, was trying to put something together in Japan. So, people are definitely trying to do it. I think it's just whether it comes together. It's, honestly hard work to build the audience.
So
Right.
true.
Yeah. And David and I might know a few people, and it's still hard. So, because everyone's busy, there are budget considerations people have to give, other events and travel requirements. There's a lot that people have to deal with.
And
But
you
I would say, you know, if you're optimizing for budget, it's definitely not the cheapest event. But if you're optimizing for impact, this will be an event that you remember. It'll be one of like, just as an example, we were just talking about before the recording started, I probably have been to a conference every week, in a different city for the last 2 months. But am I going to remember every single one of those? Probably not. Am I going to remember, hanging out with Stacey in Switzerland after I took red eye and drove 2 hours to be, in Verbier? Absolutely, I'm gonna remember that. And I'm not gonna just remember that this year, but I'll remember that probably for the next 10 years about, my story of how I was in Switzerland for 36 hours. There's a lot more details of some other things that came along with us, like some viruses, but we can leave that for people that want to join us in
I'll
Vail.
never, I'll just never forget. David gets off the plane, he flies to Red Eye, gets off the plane, drives straight to Verbier, and goes straight to get to the mountain. And like we've got an event in the afternoon. It's like 9 in the morning. He flew all night, and he's going snowboarding, right? And he comes walking in to the venue like 5 minutes before the event starts. He's got his boots on. He's got his all his gear with him. He's like, "All right, I'm ready. Let's go."
Yeah, and then we
David,
continued
you are a
until like
true trooper.
9:30 at night with the dinner.
Oh, you were falling asleep a little bit at the
I
end
was definitely falling asleep. I think I went to bed probably before anyone else.
but yeah, the relationships and the connections that come out of these things are amazing. The learning, definitely has value. And we do these surveys, these post-event surveys, and the feedback is really strong. And we see a large percentage of return. Like there's a lot of people that have been to like 3 of these, and we've only done 4 of them, right? So, um, there's good repeat business, and that's another measure of success for us.
That's pretty cool. So after this event, what's next?
We haven't figured it out yet, but it'll probably be something outdoors in the June time frame.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about potentially coming back to Colorado again since we did, the Aspen Snowmass event in Glenwood Canyon. So, something else in that Aspen area is possible. We also talked about potentially doing something in Arizona or Washington State. So we've we've done, rafting before, we've done ATVs, horseback riding. So number one thing will be outdoors, number two is active, and number three is fun. So if it revolves around those three, I think that will help us pick. But Jeff, we're open to suggestions too.
If I think of something fun, I'll let you guys know, but you guys are more fun than I am. I sit at home with my kids.
Well, this is the thing. Like, you can bring your kids with you, do the vacation the weekend before, and then, it's a half a day of business meetings, and then you can be right back out there with your kids for the second day.
No, that's not a bad idea. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
I'm trying to think, David. I don't remember anybody bringing kids, at least not really young kids, maybe teenage kids. But I definitely, definitely
No,
want.
there are a few people that did just the weekend before.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but definitely I've seen people bringing spouses.
That's great to know. I'll
Yeah,
think
and
about
then
that one.
Jeff, all you got to do, this is what you should do. Like, when we get off the call, buy your Epic Pass, book your lessons for the weekend before, so then you're ready to go.
David is exposing my deepest secret.
Uh-oh. What is
Well,
that?
here's the other trick, because no matter what, every year I always get a lesson just so I can get better. If you go to either, I wouldn't book lessons at Vail, but I would book lessons at Keystone or Breckenridge. You can book a full day lesson for like $250. So this is like a professional instructor that's going to work with you for 8 hours. So you're talking at like, less than $40 an hour for this type of hands-on instruction.
Man, I could be a professional by the time I'm done.
3 days, and you'll be on any color.
Tempting. I am thinking through it.
Don't do what I did, Jeff. Don't wait till you're 50.
I'm getting close.
Yeah, don't wait.
All right. Well, I am excited to deliver this news and drop this podcast hopefully a couple months before the event. And hopefully one of our listeners will be like, I listened to Jeff's podcast and I'm here. And thanks for having me, guys.
And the only thing that they did in 2025 that they remembered.
There you go.
You
I don't
definitely.
know. There's an Insurtech Harvard Symposium, and then there's Insurtech New York. I heard those are coming up too.
They are, but we're okay if you join us and forget about it. You just can't forget about slopes.
All right. Well, this year I'm gonna ask you guys maybe get some GoPros and grab some footage from it as well.
I do have a GoPro, so I just have to grab the footage. It's actually behind me.
Yeah, we can drop it here on this channel and distribute it for you guys.
All
That'd be
right.
awesome.
So, all right. Well, Stacey, David, thank you for coming on the show and tell our audience about your fun event coming up.
Thanks, Jeff.
Appreciate
All
it.
right.